On last week's video, I reviewed the brand new Weber Slate Griddle. A lot of you liked that video and asked for my review on the Weber Searwood pellet cooker. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at the brand new Weber Searwood pellet smoker. We're going to go over all the features. I'm going to tell you what I like and I dislike about it. We're going to throw a steak on the grill, smoke a brisket, and we'll see how it all comes out. Now, just like with the Slate Griddle, I also received the Searwood smoker from Weber for free. So kind of full transparency there. But all I'm going to do here is just point out all the features and my personal likes and dislikes about this particular cooker. And then you guys can decide for your own if it's something that you want to get for your backyard. Having said all that, here is the grill. So this is the larger of the two options. This is the Searwood 600 XL, where the cooking grate is 36 inches. They also make a smaller version, a regular Searwood 600, where the grate is only 24 inches. So you get an extra foot of cooking space on the XL model. Starting on this side, you have this really nice sturdy handle where you can pick up this end of the grill and then you can move it around. You have two casters on that side. Making our way to the front of the grill, let's open this guy up, and it feels nice and sturdy, heavy duty handle. Everything has a very solid feel to it. You have the bottom grate, which again on this one is 36 inches across, and there is a second grate on top which is removable. We'll come back to that one a little bit later. Close this up. On my grill I have the optional folding front shelf, which is super nice. I'm going to go over some more accessories later, but this thing folds down if you don't need to use it and opens up, makes it easier to prep and store stuff before it goes on the grill. There is a big shelf on the bottom of the grill. Here is the grease trap for all the grease that goes down to the bottom of the grill, and this whole bottom pulls out for easy cleaning and maintenance. And on this side of the grill is the pellet hopper along with the control panel. So nice big digital display, one control knob and a button. There's two ports for a thermometer and a couple of hooks to hang your grilling tools. The hopper is nice and big, so this will hold a full 20-pound bag of pellets, which is super nice. Now on the back of the Searwood is this really cool feature for hanging your second grate. There's these two hooks on both legs. So when you're not using the top rack, you can hang it up and it keeps it out of sight and nicely organized. Assembly on the Searwood was pretty straightforward. Took me and my wife about 30-45 minutes or so to put this grill together. I have a short video I'm going to link in the description so you guys can check that out. The Searwood is Weber's second attempt at a pellet grill. Their first pellet cooker, the Smokefire, was not too successful. Had mixed reviews, issues with the grease drains, with the pellets, with the hopper, all sorts of problems. So the Weber team kind of went back to the drawing board, and instead of trying to patch up some of those issues, they redesigned the whole grill and released the Searwood. And not only did Weber address all the issues that plagued the Smokefire, they added new features to the Searwood, like the direct heat grilling, to make this grill much more competitive in the marketplace. Now, me personally, I was never a big fan of pellet grills. To me, it's not really a grill, but more of a pellet cooker, since it's all indirect heat and it can't really get as hot as a charcoal grill, can't really sear. So the way that Weber tries to address those issues with the Searwood is that this can get up to 600 degrees, which is much hotter than other pellet cookers. And it supposedly has a feature where you can sear on the grate just like you could over charcoal. So we're gonna test that out and see how that works. Next, let's talk about this digital control panel and how to start up the Searwood. Going over the display, on this side you have your pellet level gauge. So from full to empty, it's a nice little guideline so you know exactly how much pellets are in the hopper. You have the current temperature, so right now the grill's sitting at about 95 degrees, just sitting out in the sun. You have a timer that you can set. On the bottom you have the two temperature readouts for the two ports underneath. To start the grill, all you do is just turn this dial to whatever temperature you want to cook at. So let's say 250 degrees, press the dial and the grill fires up. One thing with this display, it is not touch control, so you can press on it, doesn't do anything. You use this dial to make all your selections and adjustments. Next, let's talk about some of the accessories. So as I mentioned before, I do have that front shelf installed on my grill, which is super convenient. Really like this a lot. There is also a side table that you can install on that side of the grill. However, I'm keeping this off. I like having that handle because we move this grill around all the time when we make our content. And there is also this giant double rotisserie that you can install right inside the grill. I have not had a chance to use this, but it looks really cool. One really nice thing about the Searwood is the Weber Connect app, so you get full control of the grill. You can adjust your temperature, add timers, shut it down, start it up, gives you a full graph of your temperatures over your cook. You can check the temperature on the 2 probes if you plug those in. Really handy, really useful, especially if you're away from the grill and you got something on like a brisket or a pulled pork. You can keep an eye on what's going on. Took the Searwood about 10 minutes to get up to 250 degrees from being turned off, so that's pretty good, I think. Efficiency wise, this grill has been running like a champ. So I had this for a couple weeks now, and we've done things like ribs, pulled pork, brisket. I ran it overnight a couple times, smoking 6 or 7 pork shoulders at a time, and it has performed flawlessly. That temperature holds super steady, didn't have any issues with the temps fluctuating. So performance wise, especially on those lower temp cooks, has been really good. And just like with most pellet cookers, the smokiness or the smoke level on the Searwood is pretty mild. So even if you're not a big fan of kind of heavily smoked foods, this should appeal to most pellets because again, it's nice and mild and really complements whatever it is that you cook on it. Next, let's try that searing function on the Searwood and see how that works. For that, we have to make an adjustment on our panel. So right now it's set for temperature mode, meaning it's gonna keep the temperature whatever we set it at. But in order to use that searing function, we have to change it to manual mode. So you press these 3 lines, it kind of goes into a settings mode, and you turn this dial into that circle right there, which means manual mode. And then you have 10 different levels depending on how high you want that sear. So we're going for maximum heat, so level number 10. And now I can open up the lid and we can cook with the lid open. If you just crank up the heat to, 400, 500 or 600 and open the lid and leave it in the temperature mode, that internal temperature sensor is going to try to maintain the temperature, and it's going to overfill that firebox with the pellets and cause this thing to kind of go up in flames. So you always have to change it to the manual mode, where it just keeps feeding those pellets at a constant rate, and it's kind of disconnecting the temperature sensor that's inside. While that is preheating, let's get our steaks ready, and then we're going to see about this searing functionality. We're going to go with my kind of go-to method. I've got a couple nice thick ribeyes. I'm going to hit them with a little olive oil, and we're going to go with my steak seasoning. If you watched that Slate video, you remember that little accessory caddy. And it keeps everything neatly organized. Okay, we'll season up the steaks. Press that in. See, front shelf is coming in very handy. If you've got a quick cook, something easy, and just toss stuff right on top, and there we go. So I'm gonna let this hang out for a couple minutes once this gets nice and hot, and then we're gonna sear them off. Just as we're filming our video, a truck pulled up with a new batch of our spices for sale. Ooh, look at that. And we've got 2 fresh pallets of seasoning, empties over there. So anytime you guys purchase from me, purchase the spices, it comes directly from me. So I appreciate all the support. It really means a lot. All right, spices are delivered, grill is preheated, so let's get these ribeyes on. So let me show you how this kind of direct grilling system works here. So the firebox is right down there in the center section. It's cranked up to 10, so it's as hot as it can get, and you can see, I'm not sure how well you can see on the video, little kind of flames and sparks shooting out from underneath this metal piece that's underneath the grates. And if I put my hand here, whew, that feels super hot. So I'm gonna cook these steaks kind of my hot and fast method. So we're gonna go directly on the grate. Ooh, that is sizzling. We'll go with the other one right here. And I'm gonna flip them every minute to 2 minutes to get that nice even cook on the inside and hopefully char up the outside. So we'll see how it comes out. Okay, let's give these guys a flip. It's been about a minute. All right, steaks are done. They're temping right around 125, and they look okay. Not quite the charcoal sear, but I think it's not too bad. I'm gonna let these guys rest for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna slice into them, see how they taste. Let's talk about how to shut the grill once you're done cooking. So I'm gonna close the lid. We're gonna press these 3 lines on the control panel, and then just navigate down to the power indicator. Press the circle, and then this initiates the shutdown procedure, and depending how long the grill was on, it'll set the time appropriately. So right now it's about 15 minutes, and what happens is that's going to empty out the auger and burn off the pellets in the firebox, so the grill is ready to go for next time. Steaks are resting, so let's talk about the low and slow capabilities of the Searwood. Yesterday overnight we smoked a whole pecker brisket. I trimmed it up. It was about a 12-pound brisket. Hit it with a little yellow mustard for the binder, and seasoned pretty heavily with my all-purpose rub and some extra black pepper just to give it a little bit more peppery flavor. Put that in the fridge for about 2-3 hours just to let that marinate for just a little bit. Got the Searwood preheated to 250 degrees. Brisket went on, and I put it on the top rack this time. We did it on the lower rack. The first I wanted to see if there's a difference if we cook it on the top rack, and well, we went to bed. It was about 10 o'clock at night when the brisket went on, and at about 7 o'clock this morning, it was done and ready to go, probing nice and tender. So we wrapped it in some butcher paper with some beef tallow, put it in the oven at 150 degrees for about a 3-4 hour rest, and here we are now. Our brisket is ready to unwrap, so let's see how it turned out. Ooh, it is smelling really nice. It's a little meat present. Let's gently take this paper out. Ooh, oh yeah, look at that. That is tender. Look at that, tender and jiggly. Beautiful bark on the outside. I mean, this is a really nice bark. You have this beautiful fat cap that is nice and soft and squishy. For my briskets, I like using a serrated knife. It just helps cut through the bark, and it doesn't really pull it off like a regular knife would. So to start, I'm gonna cut it right down the center here to separate it, and well, we'll see what it looks like. Feels very soft, nice and squishy. Oh yeah, wow, look at that. I'm gently gonna squeeze it, gently. Look at that. It is juicy. You can see the flat here on the bottom. It is glistening. Beautiful smoke ring on top and bottom. This edge got a little bit more charred up, but that's okay. It's still looking pretty good. Let me see this piece. Oh yeah, look at that. And this was a choice brisket. This was not a prime brisket, so the quality was not the best, but it still looks really, really good. It's got a couple slices here. It just feels very soft. Get this pillowy fat on top. So let's just take one slice here. So let's see how tender it is. I'm just gonna gently pull it apart. Look at that, no resistance. There's no snap, it just pulls right apart. One more brisket test that there is the bend test. So it's got this another slice. Look at that. Holds up to its weight on my finger. Nice and tender. I mean, this is a really good looking brisket. Let's try it out. That's a really good brisket. Just one more. That bark is delicious. Nice and smoky flavor. Adding more pepper to the outside gives it that nice kind of peppery flavor, which I love on brisket. That fat just melts in your mouth. The meat just falls right apart. It is delicious. So as far as I'm concerned, the Searwood crushed this brisket, and that was an overnight cook, 10 hours, start to finish, no wrap, and it turned out delicious. Brisket is inside, so next up, let's slice our direct heat seared steaks and see how these steaks. I mean, they look pretty good. That sear is, you know, it's decent. I think it's pretty good for a pellet cooker. It's not as good as I would get it over charcoal, but let's taste and see what they taste like. So, and I'm just gonna cut it right down the center. There we go. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Nice color. Okay, couple slices. I mean, it's a really good steak. You can definitely taste the seasoning. You taste a little bit of that char, you know, cooking it over that direct heat or cooking it over that high heat, which, you know, wasn't really direct because there's still that kind of metal plate underneath the grate. I mean, I can say that this is probably one of the best steaks I've had off a pellet cooker, grilled directly on the grates at as high of a heat as the Searwood gets up to. For me, I still prefer a steak grilled over charcoal. You still can't beat that flavor of grilling a steak directly over the coals, but this is pretty good. Next up, let's talk about what I personally like and dislike about the Searwood pellet grill. First, it's a pellet grill, which means it's convenient and super easy to use, right? Just kind of set it and forget it, and it'll do its own thing. Fill it with pellets, plug it in, set your temperature, and it'll cruise at that temperature until it runs out of fuel or it loses electricity. So it's super convenient, very easy to use. And then you also get that Weber app on your phone, which is very intuitive, simple, get a bunch of recipes. You can monitor the grill while you're away, running errands. Just like last night, right? We set that brisket on, we went to sleep, woke up this morning, and our brisket was ready to go. I really like how hot this gets compared to other pellet cookers. Getting up to 600 degrees is not really an easy task for pellet grills, so kudos to Weber for achieving that. You know, the searing functionality, you know, it's there. It's not quite like grilling over charcoal directly, which you kind of know it's not going to be exactly like that, but it's much better compared to other pellet grills. I do like the accessories that Weber offers with the shelf, the rotisserie, the side table, those 2 hooks on the back for hanging that top rack. Super cool idea, right? Keep that nicely organized and out of sight. I also really like the build quality and styling of the Searwood. It's a really nice looking grill. Feels very heavy duty, nice hinges, nice handles, and it looks like it'll last for a long time. Now let's talk about the things that I don't like about the Searwood. So first, since it is a pellet cooker, it has to be plugged in. So keep that in mind. You got to have an electrical outlet in your backyard somewhere close by. And that also means if you've got something on the grill and let's say there's a power surge or you lose electricity, this thing will just shut off. So something to keep in mind. Also for me, this is still more of a smoker rather than a grill, right? If you're gonna do things like ribs, brisket, pulled pork, you wanna kind of set it and forget it, really good at that. If you wanna grill steaks or grill chicken, you can definitely do it on the Searwood, but you know, it's not quite like cooking over charcoal, which is how I prefer to grill. At the end of the day, it all depends on what you wanna cook at home, and that's the kind of grill that you should get. I like cooking over charcoal, so this complements my Weber kettle and my Big Green Eggs awesome, right? Because if I want to sear a steak over coals, I can do it on my other grills. And if I want to throw a brisket on overnight and not spend too much time with it, this thing is great. Kind of set it, forget it, and it cooks basically for me. Now, if you're looking to buy just one grill and you want to stay away from charcoal, this would be my recommendation, right? You still get the convenience and searing functionality of a gas grill, but then you also get the added benefits of cooking with pellets, like the temperature controls, the smoking, the easy overnight cooking. So this is a really nice grill. To summarize, in this video, I showed you guys my Weber Searwood XL 600 grill, showed you all the features, my personal likes and dislikes. I showed you how to sear a steak, how to smoke a brisket. If there's anything else that you're wondering about this grill, anything that I forgot to mention, let me know down in the comments. I'll be answering all your questions. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're on already, and I will see you next time.